WTLF and the Lapsed Entertainment Group, it's This American Work, one McMahon's story, told week by week. I'm Nasal Gas. So how you doing?
Great, doing fine. How are you? Enjoying the Merry Christmas season. Very enjoyable.
What's been going on? Anything going on in your life?
Nope. Just this is for the first time I've had a without being on the road on a daily basis, I've actually had the opportunity to enjoy some of the holiday traditions in America. I went to see the Rockettes. Very lovely women. Just lovely women.
Why you've been so hard to reach the past several weeks? It's been a long time since we've sat down. Much longer than I'm accustomed to.
No reason. I mean, just the scheduling. You call at an odd time, and then I'm busy, and then I try to, I have someone I think try to call you back, and then you're busy, and it's just the nature of the season.
I never got a call back from anybody. No one ever called me back.
Well, then I certainly put in to any number of my assistants. I said, please call the nasal man back and see, if we can schedule a time.
How will you call me, the nasal man?
Well, it's better than the gas man. Is it not?
So nothing else going on in your life that we should talk about since we last sat down?
Well,
nothing in the papers or anything.
Isn't it your show? Aren't you supposed to be the one who says, here, I want to talk about this? I'm here to just let out the truth. To expose anything that you feel needs exposure.
Wall Street Journal, December 13th, 2022. Vince McMahon, the majority owner and former chief executive of World Wrestling Entertainment, is facing legal demands from two women who allege that he sexually assaulted them, according to internal documents and people familiar with the legal negotiations. In a November 3rd demand letter to Mr. McMahon's representative, a lawyer for former wrestling referee Rita Chatterton asked for $11.75 million in damages after she publicly accused Mr. McMahon 3 decades ago of raping her in a limousine. Mr. McMahon has long denied the allegations. The demand letter was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. In a separate November email to Mr. McMahon's attorney, a lawyer for a former spa manager said that Mr. McMahon assaulted his client in 2011 at a California resort, an incident previously unreported in the media. Private communications between lawyers for the women and Mr. McMahon's longtime attorney, Jerry McDevitt, come as WWE tries to move past Mr. McMahon's 40-year tenure as the company's leader to a new era. 77-year-old McMahon has also told people that he intends to make a comeback at WWE. According to the people familiar with his comments, he has said that he received bad advice from people close to him to step down, and that he now believes the allegations and investigations would have blown over had he stayed, these people said. So yeah, that was what I was talking about.
Well, I didn't, I wasn't aware of this. This is news.
You don't know about this article. We're gonna start there here in This American Work.
All right. Very good. What do you want to know?
I said that incredulously. You're really going to try to convince me that you haven't heard that this was in the Wall Street Journal.
No, I've been catching up all on my TV stuff, and again, like I said, I've been doing Christmas endeavors throughout the Northeast, trying to get my Santa on.
Is that a euphemism of some kind? Do I really want to know what Christmas endeavors entail?
We're talking about Christmas trees and holiday lights and concerts and festivities of that nature.
Have you always loved Christmas?
No, I have not loved Christmas. Actually, this is the first time I've been able to appreciate Christmas on the level that the average American does. And let's be honest, if there's anything about Vince McMahon that is true and honest, is that I try to be like the average American.
Well, if you're going to try to pretend you don't know about this article, it's going to be a difficult episode indeed. But
why why is it that I always have to, that I'm pretending with you? Why can't you understand?
That is my exact question. That is my exact question.
Because you think that I'm pretending, yet here I am just saying, hey, you know what? I have no need to read the newspaper at this time. I have no need to follow stories on the internet. I am enjoying my life as a retired individual, a retiree, traveling, enjoying the holiday season, as well as, doing what I need to do on a consulting basis with my company to make sure that all that full engines ahead and, and that notwithstanding, just the idea of the creative nature of the entertainment business.
Well, the article says that you think you got bad advice and that you're itching to return. Is that true? Can you confirm that?
I mean, first of all, as I've said pretty much every week, because for some reason you don't want to take it at face value, I am still very much involved with the day-to-day operations of my company. Now, in terms of being the publicized face of the company, I believe that whatever this article says, I'm saying that I think I made a mistake. Nope, I don't. What I'm telling you right now is that this is exactly the way things were meant to be. I would take time away, and then slowly but surely, I would again become the face of the company. It is my company. There is no need for me to be away as I have been. It was simply done as in some sort of a practice in order to appease other individuals who have the need to protect the credibility of the WWE, even though no credibility was ever in danger, because I am on the up and up.
This article says Rita Chatterton, who of course accused you of raping her.
Who's that?
Rita Chatterton, former referee for you. You had her on Tuesday Night Titan, sat across the desk from her. You sued her in court for defamation.
I didn't have her across the desk. I had her on the desk.
11.7.
Under the desk, around the desk, inside my drawers.
The desk drawers?
Well, we'll leave that up to your imagination, shall we?
She's looking for $11.75 million, apparently. And the article notes that some laws have changed in the state of New York and California where the statute of limitations on these kinds of allegations are sort of, the clock is resetting. It's no longer out of bounds legally to sue somebody for doing this to somebody even as far back as 1991.
Well, I think that's fantastic. I think that's excellent. That's excellent. I believe that the laws should favor, victims in this manner.
I don't think that puts you in a tough position considering what she alleges you did to her. Didn't you put this in the past in your mind?
I have no victims.
Excuse me.
They're no victims. They are, again, as I've said on a multitude of times here, and I feel like we're repeating ourselves again.
Yeah.
These women have been protected by me so that the fact
and why does she want $12 million?
Why does she want $11 million? Why does anyone want $11 million? I would, listen, if I was in her position and I fornicated with my boss, had intercourse, and therefore had the ability to lie and say, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say he raped me. I'm going to say my dad raped me.
This is disgusting.
So that I can,
do you have no shame, sir?
Do I have no shame?
According to her attorney, this woman's been traumatized her entire life ever since this happened.
Well, I wouldn't say traumatized. I would say she was affected by the fact that she got a Big Mac attack.
You're absolutely revolting. I can't understand how in this world of a post-Me Too reality, you can sit there and refer to your behavior that way. How tone deaf can you be, sir? I mean, your company is up against it for another several $1 million. I mean, how many more times do you have to cut a check before you realize that you're a total creep?
We're talking the wrestling business. We're talking about the entertainment business. We're talking about the corporate America. You have to spend money to make money. So I have no problem paying off people who need to be paid for whatever reason, because in turn, I guarantee you, magic word, guarantee you, that I will make tenfold in profit.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you add up, 16 million, yeah, I mean, it's not even in the same universe. It's you're saying it's just sort of a tax. It's the cost of doing business.
The WWE universe.
Right. So you're just saying it's these payments to these women are just the cost of doing business.
I would say that, yes, this is basically, well, I mean, look, I'm not trying to everyone has the right to feel whatever they're feeling. You know, everyone has the right, and, you know, your feelings are your feelings, my feelings are my feelings. Now, somewhere along the line, you know, apparently that these feelings were mistaken in some place, and if I would prefer to have a one-on-one sit-down conversation with any of these women to kind of clear the air, but instead they are going monetarily, and they are going on the attack route. And if they ever watched the news, if they ever read the newspaper, if they ever, you know, looked at my past, they would know that I don't lose in the courtroom. I don't lose fighting the law. In many ways, I am the law.
In many ways. In what ways are you the law? Do you mean within your own world?
No, within my own world, sure. Within my own organization. I mean, let's not forget who has ties or has had ties to the White House. Hell, I may even have ties to the current White House.
Can you elaborate, please? Seems like an important.
Do you think it's just a mistake or just a coincidence that between 2016 or 2017 rather and 2021 that a WWE Hall of Famer was in the White House? I mean, Jesse.
No, but I'm saying, what does that have to do with the current? What does that have to do with the current White House?
Well,
what does that have to do with any of these allegations? I don't even know where you're going with this.
Listen. They're not allegations; they are suggestions, and from what you're telling me, and you know, I don't know what you want me to say about that. You're saying that they're saying that I broke the law. Well, until I'm in prison, until I'm behind bars, I don't see how I broke anything, except maybe a few hearts along the way, and that includes Hart family members as well. I've broken them on purpose.
So this 2011 woman in California at a spa, sounds like you had, I don't know, kind of Bob Kraft vibes here. Sounds like you like to go into spas and see if you can get the masseuses to touch your dick.
Can you elaborate? I don't remember this occurrence.
Well, this hadn't been reported. Other similar incidents have been reported, but this one in the Journal says the former spa manager alleges she was assaulted by Mr. McMahon in 2011 at a 5-star resort in Southern California while he was in town for a WWE event. The spa manager reported the alleged assault at the time to the resort, according to people familiar with the matter. The spa manager also told her husband about the incident. Some of these people said he drove to the WWE event with a baseball bat and tried to confront Mr. McMahon, but was turned away, according to these people. He went to the event with a bat, like he was DX showing up at the Norfolk Nitro, wanting to kick your ass. You can't not remember that.
Did he kick my ass? I don't remember.
Well, clearly he didn't. He wasn't allowed in.
So then how would I remember something that...
It wasn't brought to your attention that someone's here to try to attack you with a bat because of what you did at the spa, or what he says you did at the spa.
If you want me to be clear, there are many spas, many women, and things of that nature who have been married or been seeing somebody who have succumbed to the seduction process of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So what you're saying could technically fall under a number of women whose husbands may have come after me. But
so that this wouldn't have been the first time something like this has happened.
I mean, it could have been the first time. I don't remember, but it certainly wasn't the only time. And I don't know how I'm supposed to differentiate one instance with a multitude of conquests.
You talked about kind of a strategy you have, the sort of playbook. It seems like you were indicating you have to seduce these women. What was that? Yeah, what does that sound like?
Well, I mean, it basically says something like this. Are you in need of a Big Mac attack? Do you like grapefruits? Do you like genetic grapefruits? If you do and are in need of a Big Mac attack, prepare to be jackhammered. And they just follow in.
Wait a minute, that works? What you just said works.
Absolutely. I do it with a lot of charm.
What exactly are genetic grapefruits?
We're talking about testicles that have an immense genetic ample size that are abnormal to traditional testicles and genitalia.
Okay. Well, I can't accuse you of not answering that question.
I mean, you want me to show you my genetic grapefruits? Is that what you're asking?
That's quite all right. It sounds like you've done plenty of that for a lifetime. And I'm not a masseuse here. I'm not somebody that can pull the towel off your ass and, indicate via an inner thigh massage that there might be more in it for you if you if you wire a check from your personal account that should have been charged to the company.
Yeah. All right. What are you saying?
So that's literally what you say. You're down you're in the tanning bed or in the tanning booth or you're on the massage table and you say, "Are you in need of a Big Mac attack?" That's what you say to these women.
And then I uncover myself and they can see that I have a full tower erection. And, when I have a full tower-sized erection, I am in need for somebody to take care of it.
Can't just take care of it yourself.
I mean, not when I have someone with me, someone there.
You have to assault this poor woman just because you're excited.
Listen, assault, these are, now, let me ask you this, okay? First of all, in regards to this particular instance, is there video footage of this?
I have no idea.
Are there pictures? Because I can tell you right now, in the heat of the moment, I can recall no woman trying to refuse Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Why is it always they wanted it? Deep down, they wanted it. Why is that always the defense from guys like you?
I mean, I'm not saying deep down. I'm saying right on the surface, they wanted it. They needed it.
You're repulsive. These women, this woman was so upset. She reported it to her management, which she wouldn't have done if she had wanted it, let alone tell her husband, who found out.
I mean, listen, you just never know these things. You find a woman, you see a woman, all right, a woman who cheats on her husband, and then all of a sudden is embarrassed by it or feels the need to, I gotta hide about it. So you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say this guy raped me. These things happen all the time. I have no problem with her saying that. Go for it. If it means that you are able to kind of, to move on with your husband by saying that what we had was non-consensual, I'm all for it. Listen, you got to do what you got to do to get to the next level of your life.
Are you at all worried that this husband might still run up on you one day?
I mean,
and if not, why not?
Again, I'm not sure which particular husband you're referring to, but I have I have things at my disposal that do satisfy any burned husband.
You have things that satisfy the husband? Is that what you said?
Yes, I have things that at least either satisfy or can push aside any ill feelings, whether it be financial, whether it be sexual in nature, whether it be a subscription to a magazine, a WWE magazine, or the WWE Network on Peacock. Any one of these things could satisfy and the angst of an angry husband.
Can you, even though you can't remember and differentiate one husband, one's, jilted husband from another, could you maybe recall one example of where you set a plan like that in motion and the husband ended up satisfied and you no longer had to worry about him?
Well, I mean, I said, there's one that does come to mind. One that particularly comes to mind. And I said to him, look, I said, your wife is saying that I force myself upon her. And if that is the case, I certainly want to apologize to you. And I certainly meant no harm. I mean, at the time, she seemed relatively pleased with what I was doing to her, so I would not have had any inclination that she was married to an individual such as yourself. Now, that notwithstanding, here we are at this impasse. So what I would like to offer to you is a financial settlement as well as a free selection of WWE merchandise. Anything you want, no problem, no extra cost. Tickets to WrestleMania this year. And if you do accept this, and we're talking about a very hefty sum of money, and if you do accept this, there is one caveat. I have your wife again with you in front of me. And they usually say yes.
And do you follow through with that last bullet item there?
Well, I mean, I'm a handshake guy, so absolutely. I believe everything.
Now, when you do that part of it in front of him, what's going through your mind?
What's going through my mind is that, again, someone was attempting to, quote unquote, bring me to justice. And what happened was I won.
So for you, it's more about the win against those coming after you than it is about, the actual sexual act you're involved in.
I would say it's an umbrella situation where a lot of goodies, it's like Halloween candy, right? It's like a big bowl of Halloween candy. There are a bunch of different things in there that I really enjoy. And they're all together.
All these things that have been said, these allegations that are leaking out slowly but surely. As we sit here, can you make a prediction as to whether you're going to suffer legal consequence for any one of these alleged episodes?
I don't see how I would. I mean, we're whether or not, there is no proof. There's no evidence that I did anything wrong. If I did do something wrong, there would be evidence.
Well, there are police reports. There's as much evidence as there is in any.
Police reports.
Sexual assault
case. Were the police there? Did the police witness the sexual act?
Of course not. Why would they be there? Why would you do that in front of a police officer?
Did anybody witness the sexual act?
Yeah, the victim.
The victim. That's one person. Do you know how many people I told about these sexual acts?
Excuse me?
Do you know how many people I told about these sexual acts?
No.
I told
Ace?
I told Patterson.
Yeah.
I told Briscoe. I told
Johnny Ace.
Monsoon. I told Johnny Ace. I told Shane. I told Triple H. I told Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Monsoon.
I told Hulk Hogan. I told Linda, and I told Stephanie.
You told Linda?
Absolutely. I'm an honest man. I'm an honest man.
What did you tell her?
I said, Linda, it happened again.
And she knows what that means, shorthand.
Absolutely. She knows exactly what that means.
Let me ask you a question, Vince. What is it? Because she knows, but we don't. What is it?
It is fornication outside of wedlock.
And do you feel that by disclosing it to her, this radical transparency, that it somehow excuses you in the behavior?
No, she excuses me. She says, okay, and we move on.
She doesn't give a fuck, does she? That's what people misunderstand. She kind of, I think we've talked about this. She actually is into it.
She is. She enjoys it. She watches. She likes to get in on the act. I mean, let me tell you, all right, there have been many times I have been satisfied by multiple women in her presence, and she has got her hand rubbing her clitoris. It's human nature. Clitoral satisfaction watching her man fuck other women.
That is, we're going to get into the status and the timeline, if you will, of your relationship and marriage to Linda here in just a moment. But before we move off the Wall Street Journal reporting, one thing I found interesting, and I'd love your thoughts on it, considering all you've been through in your life and career, is that I noticed the day this article dropped, and of course the wrestling media in particular was just alive with, coverage of this and buzz about it and conversation about it, wrestling fans on social media platforms with all kinds of opinions and takes on the ramifications of it and what should happen and where there may be hypocrisy involved, whatever it might be that they're taking time to read into. But it struck me that upon the news dropping, this contains a new allegation of sexual assault, a new alleged victim out there who was, if I'm to read this article and take it to face value, traumatized and is probably never the same because of what allegedly happened. We have Rita Chatterton all these decades later still seeking recompense for what happened, and apparently her lawyer being more willing than ever before to sort of detail what sort of psychological trauma she's experienced as a result of this alleged episode. But all the wrestling fans seem to want to talk about was this paragraph, 13 paragraphs down in the story that says you want to come back. Every headline I saw was like, Vince is going to come back. And
isn't that the story?
See, I didn't think so. I thought the victimization of women was the story.
Listen, women have had their day. All right. They had their Me Too. They had all of it. Now it's time for Vince.
What time is it now, Vince?
What
time is it now?
It's my time. It's my time now. It always has been my time. And it's time to get my company back on course. And, I do believe that this stepping away as being the face of the company was a mistake. I think that I let other people's judgment get the better of me. And had I really thought about it, I would say, you know what? I mean, who cares? I own the company. I'm the top shareholder. I hold the majority voting power. What can anyone do against me?
Wouldn't that have done tremendous damage to have someone that was just, constantly in the media for these allegations, with their hands on the gears of a publicly traded organization like that? Wouldn't that have just been a constant distraction?
Well, I mean, no, because here's the thing. We're talking about, had I been able to publicly voice myself from the safety of Titan Towers, I could have simply just, this would have moved along right away. And I would have said, nope, you know what? Ask them, show me proof they didn't want it. Show me proof they didn't need it. Show me proof that what happened was a bad thing. And there is none.
And you were saying, isn't that the story? And I got to tell you, to my moral compass, it shouldn't be. But if I'm to be objective and if I'm to see with clear eyes, it looks to me like, to most wrestling fans, this is just another twist in the storyline of your life and career. That wrestling fans, it doesn't matter what you've done. All they care about is when you're going to come back. I mean, that's it. They can't help themselves. Is that right?
WWE fans, wrestling fans, entertainment fans love a comeback story. They love a comeback story. I've even been, and look what's right around the corner. What's only a few months away. the biggest extravaganza in entertainment. I've even been thinking about getting Kevin Spacey on board. I think he deserves a comeback as well.
Why don't wrestling fans care about these victims?
Or
why? Some pretend to care, but I'd imagine you don't think that's real.
I think it comes down to, what is it that we really want?
Right.
What is it that we really need? I mean, we're talking about the WWE in terms of the WWE is to many people, most of our fans, most of the WWE universe, as a real life superhero comic book. I'm Superman. I just died. Did Superman die for real? No, he came back. Time for Superman to come back and save the world one more time.
The share prices looked good. Morale seems high. There's a lot of reporting, anonymously sourced, that there are people in that company, some of whom you wouldn't expect, that are like, it is not a good thing if he comes back. We actually have done a hell of a job pulling this company together without Vince, and we seem to be on a good track. People seem satisfied.
See, again, you're looking at it from the superficial perspective. You're looking at it as if I haven't been there every single step of the way. If I'm not in the office, I'm on the phone with people from the office.
Is your car parked at Titan Towers?
Absolutely it is.
If I drove by right now, would I find your car in the parking lot?
This phone call is taking place from Titan Towers.
Do you try to hide the fact that your car is in plain view to the public to anybody who drives down the highway?
Absolutely not. Why? I'm not banned from the office.
Are you good enough at pretending that you're not there, that you could engineer a change in company culture just to get that idea over and stay? You know what I mean? Are you so good at kayfabe that you could just as easily shift to changing things so that people don't think you're involved as you would be, putting your signature on everything every week? Are you that much of a sly fox?
Well, I mean, how many people do you know have survived in this business as long as I have?
None.
Exactly. Because I know what needs to happen. I know when it needs to happen. And I'm the only one who knows how to do it. All right? People think Triple H, people think Stephanie, people think Nick Khan. But let me tell you something. The three of them couldn't take a shit without getting my permission.
People have said, you guys got rid of Mandy Rose because she had a very racy, OnlyFans-like account going where apparently she was nude for a couple of scenes that she was selling to this fan community, and immediately cut ties, had her drop the NXT championship and fired her. And, in this world now, people, they love rallying behind the women on social media and trying to be their support system and all that shit. So it was like, what about? And one of the biggest whatabouts is we have a guy in Vince McMahon who is accused of doing all these things to women, who had to pay hush money to have it go away, who just had another round of allegations in the Wall Street Journal, and yet this woman gets fired at the slightest hint of, public displays of nudity. And how can we be okay with one and not okay with the other? Well, what say you to that whole situation with Mandy Rose?
Well, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, it was really more to do with what she was selling than the actual nudity per se. There were, at the time, I believe they've been taken down now, but initially speaking, there were pictures of she and myself and videos of she and myself. And I did not give my permission to have that put on the internet. And
that's why she's gone.
She's not gone. She's not gone. All right. She's just, she has been Superman. All right. For the time being, she will come back because everyone pays the price.
Right.
All right. There's a reason why they say don't cross the boss when it comes to Vince McMahon.
You've been watching her videos?
Have
you
I
subscribed? You're a subscriber?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big fan. Big fan of OnlyFans.
But I thought you guys were against, the talent having these third-party arrangements, like you crack down on Cameo or any of these other sort of ancillary ways the talent can make money.
Well, I'm all opposed to forms of entertainment that they do on their own that don't get me sexually aroused. I mean, believe me, I have been encouraging every woman on the WWE roster to do an OnlyFans page.
What would you, if they all sort of followed through on that? And if, let's say tomorrow, every Devon roster, I'm sorry for that outdated term. That's the sort of frame of mind you have me in. Yeah. Every woman on roster had an only.
I see. So I'm controlling what comes out of your mouth now.
Yeah, sometimes you have that effect on people, as you know.
I see. So you have no responsibility for yourself. You're not accountable for what you said.
I apologize for
obviously you don't respect women nearly as much as I do.
Now, I guess the question is, if all the women had OnlyFans up right now, what would you do?
I would pleasure myself.
Who would you pick first?
Goodness. Well, I guess, because probably it's the only way I could possibly get inside a Flair, I'd probably take Charlotte first. The only way that I could possibly get that close to Rick.
Would you let Rick know that you were watching?
Oh, I'd have him on the phone. I would say, I'm watching your daughter touch herself on camera as I touch myself. And I wouldn't let him hang up.
I can't believe how it asks.
Yeah.
Do you think Linda would watch him too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I believe that Linda, forgive me, I don't want to overstep my bounds here, but I wouldn't put it past Linda to be directing these little scenes.
Is that right? Wow. She was verbal in that way.
Absolutely. She definitely has what it takes to find the true nature of the WWE women.
When did you know this about Linda? When did you first discover this? Because we've talked about, and marching through the chronology of your life in previous episodes of This American Work, about how you met her in church and how you married her young and how you sort of roughed it together as
I fucked her in church.
Well, that wasn't my question.
Fucked her in church. That's when I knew. How many women do you know would openly fornicate in a fucking pew? Bent over the pew, taking it, and screaming, "Oh, Jesus, oh, God," with a crucifix inside. That's Linda McMahon. That is a woman.
I guess fair enough. We would be remiss if we didn't also touch on another
as
bit
I'm
of media
slapping her ass with a fucking songbook.
Yeah, but what did
pounding her and slapping that ass?
Can you think of a single thing you've ever wanted that you didn't get?
Let me see. That's a very good question, actually. Let me think back in my many years of existence. Is there something that I wanted that I didn't get? No. Well, maybe one thing. That Evel Knievel didn't die during the accident. I wanted that. Didn't get it.
All right. Appreciate the candor. So another bit of media that floated to the surface since the last time we sat down was a documentary on the television channel Vice called The 9 Lives of Vince McMahon. It was a 2-hour documentary, kind of going through your whole life. In fact, it was eerily similar to what we've been doing over here on This American Work for several weeks, marching through your upbringing, your formative years, your difficult childhood, your first entrees into promoting and things like that. It almost makes one wonder if they're watching and listening. Just right off the top, I know you've seen the doc. We've been able to confirm as much before we sat down to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the doc because I'm in the business, of course. Overall, your thoughts on this piece and the job they did on you?
That's complete bullshit.
What?
Oh, that's complete bullshit. I mean, nothing in it was true.
That's ridiculous. Most of it was rehashed history that everybody has
It's all
agreed is settled.
Listen. They didn't get me to.
No, of course they wouldn't.
Right,
You wouldn't sit down with them.
I mean, so how am I supposed to know what they say is true?
Because you went through it. Yeah. You either did or you didn't do the stuff they said.
And I'm telling you, what I saw when I watched that thing, it was complete bullshit. Not 1 ounce of truth.
Name one thing
reading
that
a
they
fucking
said that
National Enquirer thing. You know, one of those fucking headlines where Elvis is alive and is eating space alien Thanksgiving food. Complete bullshit.
Well, now that we got the categorical denials out of the way, which were inevitable, can you name, like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 things they didn't get right instead of just painting with a broad brush like you wrestling fucking people always are allowed to get away with?
I mean, listen, they didn't talk about me fucking Linda over the goddamn pew from behind.
How would they talk? How would they know about that? How would they talk? Why would they talk about that?
That's the truth. These are the truth.
So the problem is what's not in there, not that what is in there is wrong.
What they said is all bullshit. They didn't say anything that was true whatsoever.
You didn't get indicted for distribution of steroids.
I certainly didn't. Listen, when it came to the steroid issue, all right, it was a suggestion that maybe the steroids that I was presenting were not legally obtained and therefore handed out from a legal basis. Now, what they said was a complete superficial whitewashing of the whole thing. They didn't get
talked to your lawyer. They talked to Jerry McDevitt.
Well, I mean, listen. Jerry says what he needs to say. I have never told him to lie. I simply say, use your best judgment when telling the truth. So I don't know what he said. I wasn't there. I didn't accompany him to these interviews.
Yeah, but he's in the doc. What he said is in there. Are you going to say he's lying too?
I listen. As a film and television entrepreneur, I can tell you that you can edit people's sentences however you want.
Oh God, here we go.
And so who am I to say? And you sign the little waiver and says, hey, you know what? We can use your image and shit. I do that shit all the time. Now look, it was a very entertaining documentary. Was there any sort of satisfying revelation or fact out of it? Absolutely not. I found it to be completely revolting.
It's a story of your life. It's a compendium of
the story of my life. It's the story of the life they want to believe.
I'm going to get very frustrated here because 90% of the doc, yes, you're right, is established history. Yep. Things that nobody would dispute. Things that have been settled matter.
Well, I dispute some of the things they put in there.
All right, one thing. Go.
I don't remember.
Yeah, right.
I watched it like a week ago. Who the fuck knows what happened?
But you still know it was bullshit.
What?
But you still know it was bullshit.
I can tell you right now, they got no facts.
2006, Boca Raton, Florida. They reported a case at the Tanzabar Tanning Salon where a 22-year-old met you when you came in to buy 20 minutes of tanning, and it says you asked her to take a photo of yourself so you could send it back to your girlfriend in New York. This is in 2006. You have a girlfriend? Let's start there.
All right. Did I have a girlfriend?
Were you married to Linda still, or was that whole thing kayfabe?
That was WrestleMania 22.
I mean, with her, not maybe married officially.
That was Cena and Triple H in the main event. And see, I don't know. I don't remember if I had a girlfriend or not. I might have. I certainly
But
I mean,
the
I could
question,
have just,
all right,
for all I know,
it's immaterial.
if this incident even happened, which I don't recall. I mean, listen, I've been to many tanning salons, many encounters with attractive, buxom women.
Yeah, why do
Right?
they always hire hot girls to work at those things?
Well, because
Huh?
because they need me to feel hot, and I want to feel hot, and then I'm going to get hot, and I'm going to,
Go ahead. What's that?
explode, volcanic eruption from my pants, and I'm fine with that. And so I mean, again, we're talking about a he said, she said situation.
Do you ever remember asking someone at a tanning salon to take pictures of you so you could send them to your girlfriend?
I mean, I could have said that. I mean, listen, I would say that every time I go to a tanning salon, I ask them to take pictures. Do I intend to send them to a girlfriend? Maybe. I don't recall.
Are you hoping that they're turned on?
Well, I mean, of course, that's the game. Here, take pictures of my naked tan self. And the idea is, once you take the robe off and they see you in your glory, that all they want to do is pounce on that glory.
And have you experienced that?
Absolutely, I have. Number of times.
What does pounce on the glory look like exactly?
Well, pounce on the glory means that I then am told to lay down with a full throttle erection, and they then jump, and I penetrate. And we go to town. Do the horizontal mambo. Dancing with the pulsating fury of a discotheque.
And they just can't resist? Is it you look that good without any clothes on and tanned?
If they resisted, these things, if they truly wanted to resist, there would be no problem.
It's interesting you say that because the documentary goes on to say that when this woman who took a picture of you to send to your quote-unquote girlfriend handed your phone back to you, you sort of scrolled through a number of photos that you had taken of yourself in front of her, and then you allegedly grab her, touch her, try to lift up her blouse, try to kiss her, according to allegations, and she rebuffs you. And you end up and she ends up putting both of her hands on your chest and pushing you away. And you respond, according to the documentary, by saying, I was only trying to have a little fun. That is just, that's assault. How is that not assault?
I mean, if it happened, sure. It didn't happen.
You just said it happened.
I didn't say I forced myself on her.
Does not sound like this woman wanted any of these.
Right. It doesn't sound like
advances.
It doesn't sound like it. See, again, you're taking everything she's saying at the superficial level. Now we are human beings. We are anything but superficial. We have layers of ourselves. And so if you actually really get down to it, do you think if someone, let's put it this way, do you think there's anybody who could actually, truly resist Vince McMahon?
Absolutely. You're rather revolting.
Well, that's what women like sometimes.
So vile. Every time we sit down to do one of these, I hold out a little bit of hope that we'll have a breakthrough and that you'll show some remorse. You'll show that you've learned.
Listen, listen. If a negative thing happened here, maybe I would. But you're talking about something that, number one, I can't recall because it happened 16 years ago. Do you know how many places I've been within 16 years?
Oh, I'm sure countless. You're on the road all the time.
Exactly. So how am I supposed to remember one time specifically that happened in Boca Raton?
Oh, I don't know, because you almost got arrested for it.
Well, I didn't, though, did I?
Well, it says police determined probable cause existed that you had committed a crime, so they referred it to prosecutors who in turn declined to prosecute because there wasn't enough evidence.
Exactly, because I did nothing wrong. And if she got a little out of hand, I don't know what to tell you.
People, I'm sure I've
happened.
talked about this before, but people always wonder about guys like you. Like, how do they get to the point where they're so brazen about it and so openly, exposing themselves, literally and figuratively. And you always have to wonder, is the reason that a guy like you ends up in a situation like this where, you do it to the wrong girl and suddenly police are involved and the husband showing up with a baseball bat, is the real reason for that, Vince, because 9 times out of 10, acting like this works and you get exactly what you want?
Oh, yeah. 9 times out of 10. No. 10 times out of 10. I get what I want.
Because it all starts to make sense acting so brazenly if you tell yourself, well, wait a minute. If this guy succeeded the last 99 times he did it, then of course it's going to appear brazen to the naked eye, but we don't know how many times the woman accedes to it and it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, I'll tell you what.
Fine, relatively speaking.
Let me put it this way. The moment that it's not fine, you'll see me in jail.
Are you? Have you spent a day in jail?
Not for any of the reasons that you're talking about.
Will you ever?
Will I ever?
Despite all these allegations?
I don't think so.
Who on the board wants you out, Vince? Who's leaking all this stuff? Clearly, there's an internal battle at WWE to keep negative, to drip these little bits of legal correspondence on these untold number of accusers out there. Clearly, someone's trying to stop you from coming back, and you're signaling in this article that you are thinking about coming back, or at least whoever's concerned about you coming back is making it clear that those overtures have been made and the buzz is around Titan Towers that you want to come back. Who is it? Who's leaking this, Vince?
Now we're talking business. Because, yes, the individuals who have been supplying the media with these bogus allegations and these bogus stories have found their way to be terminated from the board of directors.
You think you found out who it is?
Oh, I know who it is. I know.
What can they expect?
Well,
what can their families expect?
Well, number one, we have, I believe that there were 3 or 4 conspirators. Unfortunately, I am not allowed to name who they are at this time. I have one of the families. One of them has a family, and I have been successfully emancipated their children from them and sent them they have some relative in Europe, I believe, and I sent the kids there. Another, I had, well, I mean, if he's going to produce bullshit about me, I'm going to pull and produce some bullshit about him. And I did. And he is currently under investigation with the U.S. government for a number of illegal activities. Sadly, you can't. When you're dealing with a guy who holds all the cards, you can't do anything but fold. All right? I hold all the cards.
That's right.
And I have much, much more power, again, than anyone understands.
Will there be a day of reckoning?
The day of reckoning is fast approaching. And they will suffer in many ways.
Do you suggest that many recent happenings would indeed point to an indication that that day of reckoning may in fact be forthcoming?
Well, again, some of these days of reckoning have already begun. And I don't actually like to consider them days of reckoning. I consider them to be maybe weeks, months, or years of reckoning.
Yes.
And I definitely like to put the wreck in reckoning. And I will wreck them. And I will make them feel it. Because nobody fucks with me and gets away with it. And don't even think, I'll tell you right now.
Yep.
This doesn't just, stop at the board of directors. I have already had numerous individuals in the financial department of the WWE look into purchasing Vice.
Why would you do that?
Because they write they make all these movies and these documentaries and these TV shows about the entertainment business, and it's all bullshit.
What would you do if you bought them?
Lies.
What would you do with the company?
I would, number one, it would definitely be a Vice channel. I'll tell you that right now. Sex, but on just regular cable. Full pornographic sex on regular cable.
You like sex before the internet?
Huh?
So we're here in the go home portion of the doc, and they've got comments from a series of talking heads that they brought in. A lot of the documentary is footage that aired on previous episodes of the Dark Side of the Ring series.
They did a really good job putting that one together, right? They fucking pieced together a bunch of other bullshit to add to more bullshit to make a big fucking piece of shit.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. So here it is. It's sort of the go home part of the doc, and some of the talking heads are going to sum it up. And what I want is your response here as we close out a very special holiday edition of This American War. Yeah. Your response to each comment. First, they had Dave Meltzer say, when Vince McMahon dies, he did not want the tombstone to say Vince McMahon, world's greatest wrestling promoter. Vince wanted to be that guy who had a movie studio, who promoted boxing, who ran the rival football league to the XFL. That's the guy he wanted to be. And at the end of the day, he tried in all those places, and he failed everywhere except one. Your response?
Oh, no. I've had successful movies. We're continuing to produce WWE feature films. So I see no issue there. In regards to the XFL, I mean, the XFL was redone. It was revived, and the only reason why it wasn't a huge success, it was on its way to being a huge success, was because of COVID-19 and being forced to shut down. So again, I am not just a wrestling promoter. I am the world's entertainment entrepreneur. And Dave Meltzer can go fuck himself because he doesn't know shit.
I had Brian Solomon, who used to work for you in the publications department. He says, would I call Vince an evil person? I would not. I would call him a complicated person who was enabled by an industry that allows people with a dark side to entertain that dark side with impunity.
I mean, I think that's a very, very solid statement. I think that is exactly it. I think everybody in the world has a dark side, but most of us don't have the opportunity to kind of, let our freak flag fly, if you will. And so I fortunately had the right doors open to me where I could do what I needed to produce global, successful, branded entertainment.
Watching the documentary, it strikes one that, God, if someone didn't know your story at all, it just makes you look like you've had 14 scandals and 14 times the scandals any other CEO in corporate America could ever deal with.
That's kind of the whole thing, is that here we are, they're making me look like this evil individual when in fact I am just someone trying to get by.
Is your story one of triumph at the end of the day?
Until I lose, I would say yes.
And Brian Alvarez said, in the end, his legacy is he was a guy with a lot of money, and he thought he was above it all, and he wasn't.
How am I not above it all? Can you answer me that?
Well, you had to step down from your company. You didn't want to do that.
Okay. Have you listened to any of the episodes of your show here?
I have. Listen, I've heard you say a million times that you didn't actually step down. Okay. But if you're going to try to tell me that you planned on one day, the Wall Street Journal front page story saying that you resigned from your company, even if it didn't actually happen, then I'm not going to believe another word out of your mouth, because no matter what you say about how...
Listen. I was asked to step down. It was suggested to me that I step down. And I said, look, I'm not going to step down entirely. I will remove myself as the face of the company.
So that is an example of you not being above it all. That is an example of you
because
losing.
You know what? Because who in the end is still pulling the strings? Me. I'm still running the company, just not out in the open. Just not, people now believe that Stephanie, Nick Khan, and Triple H run the company. That's what we told them. That's what we sold to the American public. It's a lie. It is a complete fabrication. But we're talking about the masters of kayfabe here. We love pulling the wool over the heads of millions of people. Because look at it like this. It's actually pretty brilliant, if you ask me. For years now, decades almost, we have put out a very, very tame product. Very much a fake looking product. And this was by design, to cover up and to hide the real shit that was going on. And so that also, if ever somebody from the board got wind of the dirty things that we have going on, and they decided to expose me, somebody else, my children, my wife, then we would have this kind of facade already built up. And then when we quote unquote go away, all of a sudden we can move things into place that look like we're not involved.
And the business is now palatable. It's earning hundreds of millions of dollars in guaranteed rights fees. It's being embraced by advertisers who never would have embraced WWE before. And
Exactly. Now, listen,
it could run without you. It could run without anybody. It could run on its own.
We have created a self-sustaining machine. All right? And it's all mine.
And if you want to come back, you're not going to sell.
No.
If the day comes when we hear, or we see a report, WWE has been sold.
Yeah.
How would you encourage us to interpret that? If the day were to come, because what I've learned from this conversation is just because it's in print, doesn't mean it's reflective of what.
As someone who is able to manipulate and for years has been able to manipulate television, film, print, internet, streaming, whatever. All right? I have manipulated that to the degree where I can create whatever I want and people sort of buy it as being what it is on the surface. If there comes a time where I need or have decided to sell the WWE, I can tell you this. It's because something much, much bigger is on the horizon.
And finally, in the documentary, Vince Russo, who you worked with in creative for years during the Attitude Era, says, "I really believe it's the tip of the iceberg. It's the carny business. And what happens in wrestling stays in wrestling. But all it takes is one person, and then those floodgates open. So unfortunately, man, I just think you're going to see more."
Oh, I would agree with that. See,
what are we going to see more of?
The thing is what I mean. There are bad people within the wrestling business. There are a lot of bad people within the entertainment business. And those bad people deserve what's coming to them. All right? But, what he says there is very interesting. It's very calculated because, yes, the floodgates may open, but that's just the floodgates from one direction. If you get past the main entrance, you'll see that there is a full labyrinth of different passageways and different nooks, different crannies, different alleyways. Everywhere in there lies a dark secret. I know a lot of them. I know most of them. And I can tell you that there is no way that all those little secrets will come out at one time. There's only one more. And just when you think you've gotten to the end of it, a few more have been added. Just keeps on going. Keeps on going until